SoFi down 2, Ford down 1, Intel up 1, Palantir down 1, 𝗂𝗢𝗏𝗏 down 3%. It was down more earlier. SolarEdge down 37%, Enphase down 24%. Solar stocks getting killed. Intelli up 11%. Verve being acquired helps Intelli a bit. Reddit up 8%. Dyn down 19%. That's kind of good for Sarepta. Whatever happened here. Sounds risky. Doesn't have anything to do with DMD though. Circle, unbelievable. I think it's a short. Strategy down 4. T-Mobile down 4. Adobe down 3. I think, at some point the 𝗦𝗫𝗃 is just priced out of the stock. Bitcoin's 104K. Oh, you're spelling it wrong. It's Sarepta. Sarepta, not Sarepta. It's Sarepta. I don't think you can short it, Jim. If you can short it, let me know, because I would short it. Spell it right, or I'm going to have to ask you to leave, okay? It's as simple as that. No, I don't think so, Crazy Pro. I think it actually gets worse, because the FDA is going to say, well, look what happened with Sarepta. We got to be a little more careful. Also, in the hedge fund industry, shorting is basically the whole idea of hedge funds. That's the hedge. The hedge is the short. So maybe you're not from Wall Street, but that's what hedging means. Can't say I know therapeutics, but maybe. I guess it's because people want to go long RGC because they see it going up every day. They want to get on the ride. And I'm going to focus on these binaries. I got INmB. Oh, orphan drug status. That's not approval. That's just orphan drug status. Doesn't mean anything. All right, I'm going to short more INmB. I'm actually finally, am I profitable? I might be profitable on D-Wave now. I shorted D-Wave starting at 553, then at 8, 10, 6, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17. Looks like my average is 10.
Yeah, like some of my lots are profitable. That's why I'm confused by the Schwab display.
Anemia is not that exciting. There's a lot of ways to treat anemia in CKD. Yeah, he shorts good companies sometimes, which his size is...
Let's have a look at some reasons to invest in D-Wave. Only a few are looking at quantum computing. Their quantum computers, well, even though they're not already ready yet, once they are, they could be a crushing defeat for smaller businesses.
This guy, he's so crushed. Is he a real estate agent, you think?
The number you dialed is not in service.
You're right. Oh, imagine he's on Bloomberg. Oh, I think he's not.
Hi, you've reached the voicemail for Rick Orford. Please leave a message.
Hey Rick, Martin Shkreli here. I'm a quantum computing investor. Want to talk shop? Cell phone number. You're welcome to call me at any time. I wanted to discuss your article and point out a few data points I've collected on quantum. Thanks, man. This poor guy is like desperately trying to make ends meet, writing freelance articles for Motley Fool. Motley Fool's like, listen, man, your job is to write a quantum computing article that includes the word trillion. It doesn't include the word trillion, you don't get paid. Understand? Okay. It's somewhat significant. I mean, I am focused on INmB as a potential big win. Haters are going to hate the comeback, but INmB likely to fail in the next 7 or 8 business days here.
I tried to help. I've never worked on Wall Street, but I'm trying to help you. I know what to do. I have no experience and no money, but I know what to do. I can pick 4 letters better than you. Why? I don't know, but I just can.
I think, a lot of people get confused that just because stocks are like easy to describe syntactically, that somehow like that makes the job easier. Does that make sense? You know how many people call me stupid, it turns out. It's funny, I've been around the world, met a lot of people, presidents, senators. I don't get the stupid a lot. It's not often, no. Not many CEOs, people who work for me. I don't hear stupid. You guys think I'm stupid? You're just a bag holder. You believe in the ferrets. Who do you believe in? Who's your quantum expert? Nicolo? And you don't know the physicists? No, you need communication skills is what you need. You need to learn how to type faster, complete sentences, gather your thoughts, and make impactful statements. It's not that hard. This is why you're not successful in life. You can't do these things. It's elemental. But if you want to have a competition on who's a bigger threat to the hegemony politics, then we could do that. We can talk all about that because you're nobody. You're not a threat to anybody. There's no reason anybody would ever arrest you. Yeah, but you have to post your LinkedIn or something. You're just an anon. My track record is better than yours. Yes, okay, Santa Claus, great. Well, thank you, Jesus Christ. Thank you for joining us. What do you mean, remember? I don't remember anything about you. You think I remember every interaction I have? That's like saying, do you remember every soap bubble in the shower? No, I don't. I disregard that. I don't waste my brain on that. Hey, this is Martin Shkreli showing that the phone number does work. You could be that scared of your own persona. Be proud of yourself, even if you haven't accomplished anything. Be proud. Yeah, we have other callers. Let's take this call. You're the one calling from Thailand? You're really calling from Thailand, dog? Come on, man. You can't be calling me from Thailand. Oh, no. It's scary to get on the phone. Oh. Maybe you can find Joe Springer for us. Somebody else call me, man. I want to talk to somebody. 608-830-9900. You don't know how to spell. It's YOU''RE.
Yo, what up, Mark?
Yo, how's it going?
Yo, what's with chat, like, crying and being all butthurt today?
I don't know. I think I have the Thailand dude on here.
All right, yo, if you got the Thailand dude on here, then go find him, man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be, I have no clue if he's on here or not, or...
Just curious, because I know, you did some, I think, nakeds for Cassava when you scored some options and stuff. So
yep.
How come you didn't do it for some of the quantums, like just to hedge out,
I did, which is why I still
like buy some on the money calls like that.
Yeah. I did a little bit of that. These have been very stubborn shorts. I think you have to do the homework. I mean, when these stocks drop 90%, which is like guaranteed, it's just a question of when, people will remember that and say, well, next time this happens, maybe I won't get so excited about a buzzword that I don't understand. And, the reality is that, I should look before I leap. But, it's human nature. I mean, that's what people do. And you can't change human nature. And it's not easy, as you can see. I mean, whether it's the long side, short side, both sides, it's never easy. And I mean, the hedge funds that I've looked at over the years, every one of them had a period where they got hurt, got stung, and you have to come back from it. But I think that you're right, humility is important. And you work at one of the top places. Of course, I will never say who or what, but it's it's being a professional and grinding it's a privilege. I mean, I think the people from the sidelines don't get it, that, Wall Street's a really big place, lots of people all across the country, and, we all want to win, but, we have to work hard and satisfy our clients, whether, it's buy side, sell side, hedge funds, doesn't matter. Even Elliott or Bluecrest or some of these other big firms, they all have clients. And, whether you got a small client or a huge client, your job's to make the client happy. And one of the biggest ways to do it is if you make a mistake, you got to own it and your client will trust you. For me, I've made some mistakes on the quantum stocks. I don't think they were analysis mistakes, but maybe timing and sizing mistakes. And, I own those. I have to live with that. And I put my performance up every day just as a truth in advertising. Like, yeah, this has been a really painful trade, but most other people will, they'll delete a tweet, they'll sweep it under the rug. Like, look, it is what it is. And I've been in this position before and I made 20, 30, 40, 50X afterwards. Drawdowns are going to happen if you're going to swing for the fences like I do. And, I am looking forward to being up, very soon, but it's painful, but at least, you got to keep it real with your clients. If I stop streaming or if I put a manipulated number on my screen, I'm sure other people do that.
It's crazy times. They people post their winnings. It's like, well, that's great. I'm not all about taking victory laps. Never have. And maybe first 2 years of my idiotic, pretentious little rookie years, but I grew out of that really fast. Just got spanked and just say, hey, you don't do that.
Exactly.
You're gonna look like a clown.
So
like when they post winnings, it's just cringe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, who cares? Number one, who cares? Because we always know there's another side of the trade. And we've been there before, but your quantum trade, the trade's not done yet. So, we're going to ride on. And
somebody I consider a top venture capitalist, and then somebody from one of the biggest hedge funds in the world, and he was telling me about an interesting quantum company on the East Coast that's not public that, maybe making a pretty serious advance. So it's an interesting space. No matter what happens, the future of computing, whether it's NVIDIA or AMD or, potentially a quantum company, or even my friend Guillaume, his thermodynamic company, this is going to be a cool space for decades to come. And, if you're a fan of technology, you're going to watch it, and we'll be able to say to our grandkids, I remember when NVIDIA became the top and Intel was, when I was a kid, Intel was the top, and they're going to say, Dad, what's Intel? They're going to be playing on their quantum iPhones or something.
Well, it's like what was about a week or 2 weeks ago, you asked chat, name some famous or infamous .com,
right.
names that, you guys traded or remembered, it's just littered of them, But
in fact, a lot of people, the guy I had dinner with was, he wasn't young, because he's pretty much at the top of Wall Street, but I could tell he was a couple years younger than me. And I would reference some stocks from 25 years ago, and I could see him being who? What?
Yeah.
And that's normal because, you are how old you are. And old timers used to do that to me. They used to tell me about some stocks from the 80s or 70s. There was a big conglomerate craze in the 80s. One of them was this, I can't remember. I'm blanking on the name. It was this gigantic conglomerate, ITX or something like that. There was a bunch of these, and most of them sort of, or Teledyne or Teleflex, I forget exactly, but, some of these stocks from the 70s and 80s that were really big, like these stocks are to us now. Of course we don't know those stocks because it's so many years ago, but, I do think history helps a lot, and I like to do that and check out, hear stories from the older guys who tell me about epic short squeezes of the past and stuff like that. And
their war stories and their wisdom, it's invaluable. I think, the new generation, if they're listening and, there's a lot of value to that. Many of the videos that you play, they should really hone down on that, the Dirac video.
Right.
The dude's all about humility, and he's the first one to say, I make mistakes all the time,
Yeah. And look at Roaring Kitty or other people that, they're the people that they idolize, and it's really not great role models. There are young guys, Kitty's age, on the street trading billions. They're just not known. They're getting guys they're not looking for, YouTube views. They're not looking for that stuff, but they're out there. Right now, there's plenty of guys that are my age, your age, that are just crushing it, and you never know who they are unless, you're plugged into Wall Street, which is why, Godel, I hope that it allows people to sort of get a glimpse of what that looks like, because once you start hearing some of those names, you might be able to, this guy's going to be at this party, or, this guy, do you know this guy? And then all of a sudden you connect dots, and before you know it, you're off to the races, which is how a lot of these big breaks happen, You just have to be nosy enough and knowledgeable enough to ask. I asked my friend the other day, he worked at Millennium. I think it's the biggest hedge fund in the world, or second biggest. And I said, who's the big shots at Millennium? I made it a little bit uncomfortable, but he's my buddy for a long time. I said, who manages the most money there? Because there's 1,000 people that work there, and there's 200 pods or portfolios, but who's number one? And he gave me some names, and I learned a lot more. And I started to wonder, okay, now I have more information. If I bump into somebody or I hear that name again, I'm prepared to make a connection. And I'm somebody who a lot of people say, you don't need to make connections. Everyone already knows you, but I'm still hustling for connections and networking. So, the more names you put in your mental Rolodex, the more you can be aware and be ready for the golf course or the airport. You happen to be sitting next to somebody important and you don't even notice it. Those kinds of chance interactions, are super huge. I got my first hedge fund job because this dude I was friends with as a teenager, his neighbor was a top hedge fund manager. That was it. So, you never know how you're going to get, plugged in. But if you never ask and you never are aware of what's going on, you know, you're not going to be able to capitalize on opportunities.
My little story was I worked at a surf shop, of all things, and
Wow.
these retail brokers would, you know, drive by around 2:00, and the market closes in the West Coast at 1, as you know. And I would see these guys, you know, they're all tan and ready to, you know, they're just coming in the surf shop, buy wax and stuff, and went. You know, I'm thinking like, well, these guys do get off work at 1:30, you know,
Right.
to go surfing in the afternoon. Well, you know, with a great lifestyle, they're, you know, popping out of their Beamers or their, you know, convertible Porsche and stuff, the full lifestyle. So I was sucked into that, or, you know, that initially, you know, I'm just going, what do you guys do? You know, oh, I'm a stockbroker, you know.
Right.
I'm thinking like, what is that? You know, I was clueless. I just went to just regular, you know, standard university studying marketing because it's the best. Because my girlfriend was a sorority chick at the time. She told me like the hottest girls, you know.
Exactly.
Exactly. That were in marketing, you know, classes. You know, forget finance. I went, okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
That dude's really cool, and he's a top dog. He's on Wall Street. Serious dude. I'm gonna end the call now. End the show because we just did it for that dude who didn't even show, which is a shame because, you know, and that's what usually happens when somebody challenges me in chat. I'm excited because I'm going to tear you apart. I can understand why you wouldn't want to join the call. Chaucer, you tried to call 100 times, buddy. It's over for you. You're just a liar.
I've requested a D-Wave access. Oh, snaking, interesting. Yeah, I know the TNF symptoms. So there's TNF overactivation, but there's no cognitive symptoms, which makes you believe that if TNF was a problem, I mean, literally a lifelong problem, you would have dementia. It leads you to believe there's no way that TNF alpha has anything to do with dementia cognition. That makes sense.
I don't want to debate. I just want to block. Take that. That'll teach you. Ruining my dreams to make money. I'm upset. I don't like the way you're thinking. Your thoughts bother me.
Yeah. So you're usually a big fan of not predicting macro events, but the quantum short seems to be liquidity driven. How is this different than predicting macro?
Well, every stock has beta, right?
Yeah.
There's no stock in the stock market that doesn't have beta. Well, I mean, there are stocks with negative beta, but mostly stocks have beta. And, you know, to a certain extent, all stocks are liquidity driven. So you do have to pick your battles, you know? I mean, if you are just short, you're going to have a lot of beta. And these stocks are like 3-4x beta.
That's fair. I'm also short. I kind of got squeezed from the QUBT. I'm thinking about adding in. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's really nuts. 30,000 in revenue.
It's crazy. I mean, you release a press release for selling a computer, not even a computer.
Yeah.
A photonic, what was it? Or entanglement device, a photon entanglement device.
Gave the INmB people the best gift they could have. You get a nice dip just before the results. They're going to be so good. Sorry, go ahead. What's the question?
Oh no, I was just popping in. You're still on YouTube? Oh, was this like an opportunity for the long people to come in?
Yes.
And start... Oh, okay. All right. I
Yeah.
just saw that Carl's going to, become the Joe Springer of INmB if this doesn't work out for him.
Yeah, what's the next thing for him? That's the thing I feel bad about these dudes is like, I have to do this every day, the rest of my life. Like, this is my job. Whereas these guys are like, no, I really believe in this one thing.
Cling on to that hope that this is going to be this big cure for this huge disease.
But what's funny about all this is that's fine by me. You can be bullish. But what I don't understand is you think you're good at analyzing medicine. You're good at picking binary events. Well, if that's true, why haven't I heard about you? Why don't I know who you are? Why don't have I seen you in the other situations I've been in? Like, I don't know, the last 25 years. Are you going to be in the next situations for the next 25 years? Yeah. Like, I see you every time there's a binary, like clockwork at Z55, And
yes,
we don't do everything the same. You know, we don't have every portfolio trade the same. I've probably taken the opposite trade sometimes from you and vice versa.
Yeah.
I've been wrong and you've been wrong. You know, like it's just life. Like this is how we make our money. This is how we invest. You know, to get upset.
Yeah, some of these folks, they just learn, you know, they get hit once and then they're out.
They always say the same thing. I learned that biotech is rigged. I learned that biotech is impossible.
The phase 1 data looked really bad. And I don't know. I mean, they're doing it in Australia. What's that?
Why did you say that? Where did they ever put out phase 1 data?
Yeah, the INmB, they actually have like on their due diligence thread, yeah, because it's been so murky, it's been put out in like little press releases, or it's like tidbits of it. There was never one comprehensive, well, there's no publication in a peer-reviewed journal. It's all either press releases or KOL type presentations where they'll selectively include some data. There's never been like, you know, a full, you know, accounting of what went on during the phase 1.
Yeah.
But from what I can tell, you know, only half the patients actually completed the study. And they were supposed to be doing things like, you know, mini mental status, some basic cognitive parameters. And what's really telling is that the data they released was one of their investigators just coming up with like a subjective assessment of like, you know, they did much better, a little better, neutral, a little worse, much worse. Like that's such a, you know, subjective analysis. They didn't include mental status or anything like that. And they can't really show a dose response because the only patients who completed it to the end were the high dose and then like a couple people on the low dose. And they don't tell you which patient improved or didn't improve. You know, it's all lumped into one. So, you shorted in 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏?
Yeah, but so I wanted to ask you on this. So, no publication. You never worked in pharma, right?
No.
So, you know what a CSR is by any chance?
No, at least not by acronym. Yeah, I don't.
So it's something called a clinical study report. So after you, basically commission a clinical trial with the CRO, they have to give you a deliverable. You know, that deliverable is usually the CSR. And the CSR is, you know, it's company confidential information. It's not, you know, something that you can't necessarily share, but you could theoretically just post it. You know, like the CSR is like what you pay for, basically, right? So they have that. Like they could tell the truth about phase 1, and it's not hard to just put it out there, right? Like this phase, like I'm looking at slide 16 that you love so much on my stream. It's the one.
Oh yeah,
the 1 milligram per kilogram slide. N equals 6. And it's the CSF inflammation composite percentage change, which I'm assuming is percentage change from baseline. But there's no placebo group in this, right?
Right.
Why would you do a trial without a placebo group? I've never heard of this. Like this is how you calibrate, you know, your assay. Is that if you don't calibrate your assay, how do you know the assay works? What if it just, you know, has so much noise that it's useless? You know,
and
it's not
they
hard
said
to
that
just
of the
enroll 2
48
people.
The 48 cytokines, the rest were not, because, you know, that's not 48 there. It's like 30 maybe or something. They said they couldn't detect the other ones, but who knows?
Yeah, so cringe. I mean, look, they seem like they're relatively new pharma, even though RJ, I think, I mean, he did phase 3 at CNTO, Coronado, CNDO.
I know the neurologist had been around for a while, and she was really interested in Parkinson's disease, where this did not show any benefit.
Is that the person that went back to, or is that the CMO, or who are they?
It's like Dr. 𝗫𝗎𝗓.
Oh yeah.
Look at
yeah. She's the lab lady.
Mm-hmm.